Hello, it's Friday and it's time for me to do a live. And I'm a little bit unprepared today as I have been only just got back on the train. And so I feel a little bit vulnerable because I don't have my post-it notes to tell me what I'm talking about. However, I do feel really confident about what I'm about to say. As you know, if you're watching this in the Banished Burnout group, you will know that I work with people who are business leaders, who are wanting to affect or are already affecting big change in the world. And right now, we need you more than ever to turn up and do the thing that you do that will affect change or is affecting change. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Laura. I know we've got some new people who are in the group. I'm Laura. My background is in mental health nursing. I haven't been a mental health nurse for years. However, I do have the toolkit of mental health tools, including my ability to coach. And I have co-founded and run an organisation for 12 years that was set up to affect some change in an area that I was incredibly passionate about, and did it successfully, and it continues to do that. What I want to talk about today is the stories that we tell ourselves and how those stories that we tell ourselves can get in the way from us doing the really important work that we should be doing, that we need to be doing. And we all do this. Wherever you are, however you work or whoever you're with, you will have stories that are getting in the way of you doing what you need to do. And my own stories have been big, massive stories throughout my whole entire life, from the way that I look, from the way that my hair is, from how worthy I am in terms of, well, actually, let's just get cut to the chase, because actually this is something that we will all feel at one time in our life or another is, am I worthy? I'm not worthy. I don't belong at that party. I don't belong at that table or that boardroom. I cannot run a business. I am not rich enough. I am not thin enough. All of this comes back to the message of I'm not worthy. And it's a story that I uncover again and again and again in the work that I do. And we all feel it. We all feel unworthy at one time or another. And it's just a bloomin' story. That's all it is. It's a story that we tell ourselves, and we can change the story. And I'm going to tell you ask you to have a look today at how you can change your story. So first of all, let's find what the story is. What is your story? It may be worth getting a piece of paper and just writing down all the things that you know that you say about yourselves. And you may say these things out loud to other people. So one of mine for years and years is, I can't do maths. I can't do mental arithmetic. So an example of this would be if I was out for dinner with friends and we were going to split the bill. Okay, so the bill comes out and everyone's like, right, okay, let's work out what's what, who's going to pay what. And I would get into this thing where there's no way that I can add that up in my head, but I will pretend that I can, because there's always somebody who will have done it and got there before me. So I would pretend that I'm doing this, knowing full well that my head won't do it. And then I told the story, I'm no good at maths. I can't do that. So I would say that stuff out loud. Oh, actually, I'm no good at maths. And what I noticed is that as I said that more about myself, people started to say it about me too. And then it became the story. Don't ask Laura to do mental arithmetic. She can't do it. She can't do maths well. Is that actually true? I might be a lot slower than other people to do maths, but I can do it. But there it was, the story I told myself that I told other people that became the story. And when we create these stories and we tell other people about these stories, then it's much harder to break that story down and change it. But it's still possible to do. So we can do it. I realise I've gone on a complete tangent with the maths thing right there, right then. But it is important because it's about these stories. Now, another story that I used to tell myself was, I wouldn't be very good at running a business. I told myself that story for years, and then it turns out, well, I could run a business, and I did run a business, and I am running a business. It just turns out that story was holding me back and stopping me from making decisions going forwards. Isn't it interesting how when we have a story, we will then find all the evidence to back that story up? And we'll find it, right? Because we're humans, that's what we do. So we will find all the evidence to stack to support the story that we have. But guess what? If we do it the other way, we could also find all the evidence why we might think the other way. So get a piece of paper, write down some stories that that you tell yourself or even say out loud. And it might be, my thighs are too big, or that, I won't be considered, I would never be considered for that job, or I can't go for that contract because they wouldn't take me seriously. None of it is true. We are making it all up. So do that, and then I want you to really notice what emotions come up for you during any given day. Now, this is something to do over a couple of days, is to just feel into the emotions that you are having that come up for you during your day. So I want to tell you about an emotion that I was having time and time again, which was around not being good enough, not making enough money, not affecting enough change, not seeing enough change in enough people, not being good enough, and how that would come up again and again during my day. And I would flatten it. And this is what we tend to do, is we get an emotion that isn't very nice and we don't want to feel it, and we flatten it. It's like we push it down and then we carry on going. So it's back here, we're pushing it behind us, and we're carrying on as if nothing's happening, but actually that emotion doesn't go away. It's still here. What we really need to do is listen to what it's telling us. Okay, so when I'm having that emotion, or when I used to have that emotion, I needed to look at it and thank it. Thank you for showing me something that I need to pay attention to. Your emotions are there to tell you there is something that you need to pay attention to. There's no point just pushing it back there and pretending it's not happening. Look at it. What's it about? Now, for me, I had this one that kept coming up about being small. Stay small, because if you're too big in the space, then people will shut you down. And so that's too scary. So I will stay small. And to stay small, I have to tell myself lots of stories. Yeah, you can't be in that room with those people. You can't have those discussions with those people. You speak to these people here, but not those people. Those people don't want to hear you, don't want to listen to you. And of course, this then stops us from being able to grow. So listen to those emotions. Thank it. Thank you for showing me something. Now, recently I've been working through some stuff because that's the thing, is there's always going to be stuff to work through. Looking at that emotion and thanking it and saying, thank you very much for reminding me how I don't want to feel, is probably one of the most effective ways of moving on from it. So thank you for showing me how I do not want to feel. There's that emotion. I'm in it. I'm feeling it. And now I'm going to choose to feel differently. How do we do that? How do we feel differently to how we do right now? Well, we have to reach for an emotion that isn't too far away. We're never going to be able to jump up to being, woohoo, I'm so happy, it's ridiculous. But we can jump to a different emotion, and gratitude is a really good way of doing this. It's just to stop for a moment and say, okay, look at what I've got. Look at the fact that the sky is blue, the fact that there are flowers in my garden. I've seen some daffodils today. They're beautiful. And let's just stop for a moment to feel what that's like, to see those beautiful daffodils that are in the garden. Now, this may sound very peculiar, and it might not be daffodils for you. It might be standing in front of the sea, or it might be a special place for you that you take yourselves where you feel utter gratitude for the fact that you're alive. And that's how we reach for a different emotion. So we've thanked this emotion for what it's showing us, how I don't want to feel. And then we're reaching for an emotion which is going to really change the way we feel. It's different to pushing this emotion down and pretending. That's where negative positivity comes in. You know, I'm feeling pretty shitty right now, but I'm going to smile and I'm going to pretend it's all right. It's not real and it's not authentic. And be curious. This is the last thing that I want you to take forward, is be curious. So whenever you get an emotion, it's because there is something that needs to be listened to. Something isn't quite right. And notice it and be curious. And of course, notice the good emotion too. When are you feeling happy? When are you on top of the world? What's going on in your life? Because we want more of that. So notice your emotions. Thank the emotion that you don't want for showing you how you don't want to feel. Reach for an emotion that is reachable. Don't reach up here right now because you're not going to get it. And then we just feel like we're slamming back down again. Reach up here and then work from gratitude upwards. Be curious. That's it. Those are my top tips. And I am going to do a little cheat sheet on this as well. So if you want the cheat sheet, it'll just be a little PDF with points for you to do and some exercises for you to do. Do write in the comments cheat sheet and I will get it to you. Another thing to say and let you know is that I have been going through my programs recently and I've changed them. I'm still using my Restore method, but I have spaces on my group program and I have 2 spaces that have come up for my one-to-one. So if that's something that interests you or you know somebody who would like to work with me on a one-to-one, I do a 45-minute session completely free to anybody who's in my community. So if you haven't had that yet, book on, because very often people get some amazing breakthroughs just in that 45 minutes. So lovely to see you. Big hugs. And see you soon.